In this chapter, you'll get a look inside of your Apple III. You'll learn how the circuits on the inside relate to the hardware on the outside. The first so-called personal computers were largely do-it-yourself devices. In the mid-1970s, several manufacturers designed kits made up of electronic components that had to be assembled before any actual computing could be done. Since these kits tended to be incomplete and had to be built, most people who were not electronics hobbyists didn't get involved with personal computers. However, all of these early kits did have one thing in common. They were based on the development of a new kind of electronic device called a microprocessor chip. It is this microprocessor device that made the whole personal computer revolution possible. Everything changed in June 1977. Apple Computer Incorporated delivered a personal computer already assembled. The Apple II was born. It was a ready-to-run personal computer system available for mass consumer use, and it used the technology of that single-chip microprocessor. An avalanche of new systems followed from dozens of manufacturers. The rest is history. All of the work that your personal computer does is done under the control of the microprocessor. It may look tiny, however, it contains thousands of transistors arranged in a specific way so that it can control your entire system. We're going to show you the inside of your Apple III to give you some idea of what goes where. Do not actually open your own computer because it is factory assembled and checked out when you receive it. You could void the warranty or cause expensive damage to your system if you do open it. What we're going to show you looks exactly like yours. On the left side of your Apple III is the power supply. It is a sealed unit and provides the various voltages your computer needs for its various circuits. Don't ever tamper with the power supply. Doing so might be dangerous and void your warranty. On the opposite side, to the right, is the disk drive assembly. This is the part of your computer that allows you to use pre-written programs and to save your work for later use. Directly under the disk drive is the main circuit board that contains many small electronic components called ICs. IC stands for Integrated Circuit. On the main circuit board, as well as on the separate memory board, are many of these ICs. The smaller ICs handle memory functions. One of the large ICs with many flat wires attached to it is the brain of your Apple III. It is the microprocessor chip. It is also known as the CPU, or Central Processing Unit. As the brain of your computer system, the CPU is one of the three essential elements common to every computer system, no matter how large or small. These three essential elements are the CPU, or Central Processing Unit, the memory, and input and output. Basically, any computer system fetches instructions from a memory, performs those instructions, adds information if required from input devices, and displays or transmits the results of that process through output devices. Your Apple III contains all of the basic elements and performs all of the basic functions much in the same way as that big mainframe computer does at your neighborhood bank. Those rows of smaller IC chips inside your Apple III on the memory board contain the memory where instructions for the CPU are stored. There are two types of memory inside of your Apple, non-volatile and volatile memory. Non-volatile memory is made up of special ICs that have been programmed with information at the factory where your Apple III was manufactured. Volatile memory is forgetful memory. These chips are filled when you load information into them when you are operating your computer. But because this information is loaded into volatile memory, it will be lost when the power is turned off. The IC components that make up non-volatile or pre-programmed memory section are known as ROMs, for read-only memory. These pre-programmed chips give your Apple III the ability to look for a disk drive and start it going. ROM always remembers. Volatile memory is stored in chips known as RAM, for random access memory. It is these RAMs that you write into when you're working with your computer. Since the contents of RAM can be written into or read out from, they are the memory chips that you will be using most when you are working with your Apple. But they will also forget that information when you turn your Apple off. The keyboard is an input device you use to talk to your Apple III. The monitor is the output device your Apple uses to communicate with you. Together, they form the console. The console is a term you'll be using later when you start to operate your Apple III. So remember, the console consists of the keyboard and monitor as they are used together as a combined input-output device. The disk drive that is built into your Apple III is known as a peripheral. Additional disk drives are also called peripherals. A peripheral is any device connected to your computer that serves an input or output function. Other kinds of peripherals may be a printer, to output information and data onto a piece of paper. A modem, a device used to connect your Apple III to another computer, usually through telephone lines. A hard disk drive to give your Apple III expanded memory capability, or a plotter to physically generate maps, charts, and graphs. As the personal computer industry grows, new kinds of peripherals are being developed for new applications. Your Apple III has been specifically designed to allow for expansion. In the center of the inside of your Apple III is a row of 4 receptacles known as slots. These slots are available for various input-output devices. Essentially, they allow the computer to grow with your needs. Peripheral connectors are located on the back of your Apple III. Some of these are called ports. A port is simply a place for information to leave to go to another destination. The RS-232C serial interface connector and the color video port, the black and white video port, and the audio port on the back of your Apple have been designed with expansion in mind. One connector on the back panel is especially important. It is the disk drive connector and is labeled floppy disks. Up to 3 additional floppy disk drives may be connected to your Apple III through this connector. Port A allows an Apple Silent Type printer to be connected directly to your computer. Other printers will have to be connected to either the RS-232C serial port or an interface card which is plugged into one of the internal slots. Your dealer can help you with specifics regarding the printer you may have. There are also 2 joystick ports. A joystick is a device that is like a control stick in an airplane. There may be programs in your future where this will be a handy feature. 2 video ports are available to fit your particular needs, a color port and a black and white port. If you're using a standard Apple Monitor 3 with its green screen, you'll be connecting it to the black and white port. Your green screen monitor is really a black and white television monitor with a specially designed green display screen. The green color has been found to reduce eye strain. If you're using a true color monitor or a more sophisticated RGB color monitor, you'll be using the color video port to connect your display device. Finally, there is the audio port. Any sound you hear from your Apple III's internal speaker can be sent to an external speaker, tape, or cassette recorder, amplifier, or other audio device. That connection can be made here with a mini phone plug. So far, we've been concerned with what's called hardware, the physical parts of your computer. The actual instructions that your computer uses and the data or information that it processes is called software. We'll deal with software in more detail after you've assembled your system and turned it on. This chapter should have given you a better understanding of the hardware components of your system and how they relate to one another.